So today we're here with episode 2 of my F1 24 My Team career mode. And today we got the second race of the season in Saudi Arabia. And before I went into that race, I wanted to do some R&D upgrades. But I only had 2 days left on this one, and I could only do 1 upgrade at a time on aero, so I just wanted to advance a couple of days before I did the next upgrade. But you can see that's completed successfully, and now I was just looking at what upgrades I wanted to do. I was looking at chassis and aero upgrades, because you can see I've got quite a lot of resource points, so I was thinking I can probably afford 2 here. I can afford 1 of each. And then I was contemplating between a front downforce or a rear downforce upgrade, but I went for the front downforce because I wanted to combat the understeer even more that we had in Bahrain. And then I went for the cable assembly because that is weight reduction, and that was the biggest upgrade on the chassis that I could do. And before qualifying, I just wanted to put my difficulty up to 93 because I did a little bit of practice and I felt like 93 was about the right place for me. And I had enough resource points, so I wanted to do another R&D upgrade, so I decided to go for another chassis upgrade because it's the best one I felt like I could get out of what I could afford. And now we move into quali, but as you can see, I've got an issue, so I had to sit in my garage and wait for that to get repaired. And that was a little annoying, and I was hoping it would mean I wouldn't come out in traffic when I do my first lap and stuff. Because I have a time when I like to go out and do my first lap, and it's a lot earlier than this repair time would allow me to do. But now we move on to the first lap in qualifying, and that repair time didn't cause me any issues. There is a car ahead of me there, but they're too far ahead to really cause me any problems. So as we go through turn 1 and 2 here, I get through them pretty well, and hopefully it's a good start to a good lap. And then we approach turn 4 here, get through there. And this is the S's section, which is quite a difficult section. It is one which is a lot of people would struggle with, I say. But I think I actually get through it pretty well. Compared to the AI, I'm actually pretty decent at it. And I think I get through it pretty well there. So I was quite happy with it. And then we come down to the start of the first DRS straight here. And I get through that pretty well. And end of this straight as well, I get through there pretty well. So I'm really looking at a good lap here, I hope. But then we get into the final corner, and this is a place where I do struggle with, but I do get through that pretty well. But I do struggle with that section, that last final corner. So I was really hoping I got it right, and I did. And I come across the line with a 1:31.872, so not a bad lap to start, I don't think. And you can see that has put me in 13th after everyone's done their first lap. And then we come into lap 2, into turn 1. You can see I'm already quite far down on my first lap. But I do get a decent exit out of there, so I do get up in my delta a little bit. And we come into turn 4 here, and I'm trying to just increase even more time on my delta. And this S's section now, I felt like I did it pretty well on the first lap, so I felt there wouldn't be a massive amount of time to gain here. And you can see I actually have lost quite a bit there, but I do get a better exit out of the final bit of it, and I do get quite a good gain there. And then we come into here as well, and you can see I've gained about 3 tenths up to that point, but I do lose a lot going through that section, which I didn't want to do. You don't want to lose a lot through there. And then in the final corner as well, I don't go through that as well as I did last time, I don't think. And I feel like I do lose a little bit. And going up to the line, I must have got a worse exit because it is slower going up to the line. But I still improve on my last time. And it means I'm going to be in 13th place at the end of Q1, which means I'm into Q2 for the first time this season. You can see there, I easily made it into Q2, and Logan Sargent made it into Q2 ahead of Albon, which really shocked me, so that is a big surprise. But moving away from Sargent, I felt like I did qualify into Q2 quite easily. I was very far ahead of those cars who got knocked out in Q1, so I decided to sandbag myself a little bit just to even it out because I didn't want to be going too quick because I felt like I was too far ahead of the AI to where I should have been. But now we're coming to our first lap in Q2, and I was on a scrub set here, so I did expect a slower time than what is my best. And as we come to the end of the lap, I do a 32.6 pretty much, which is a lot worse than my time in Q1. And you do see it has me in 16th at the end of those first laps, but I wasn't worried because I was on a scrub set. And then we come into our first lap, our second lap in Q2, sorry, but our first lap on a fresh set of soft tyres. And you can see already I've gained so much time through turns 1 and 2. And I want to see how much I'll gain through this section because I thought this would be a big gain for me because this really is tyre heavy, this section. Having tyre wear will really detriment you through this section, I feel like. And I do come out of there 3 tenths up on my delta, so it really did help me having that fresh set. And then coming into the final turn here, I'm 5 tenths up, you can see, and I don't actually gain too much through the final corner, but that isn't going to matter, I don't think, because I'm 5 tenths up, and I think that's a pretty decent lap from me, so let's see where it does put me. And it puts me 14th on the grid for the race, which I think is a pretty good qualifying session from me there, to be fair. And yeah, you can see Ocon was quite far ahead of me, so I feel like getting 13th or anything higher would have been pretty difficult, and Gasly 6 tenths ahead. Yeah, it would have been really difficult to get any further ahead. But Logan Sargent into Q3, which is incredible. Something he's only done like once or twice in real life, and not at all this season. He manages to get in Q3 when Albon gets knocked out in Q1. So I want to see where he qualifies. That'll be interesting. And I did decide to up the AI to 94 before the race.
Good morning, good afternoon, or for us, good evening, as we're under the night lights of Jeddah. The floodlights are on and so is the pressure here at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. So let's take a look at the topographical map of the Jeddah street circuit. As you can see, a number of challenging corners for the drivers to master here. We'll see just how much the teams have benefited from their time spent in practice this weekend. And like many street circuits, this track has the potential to punish drivers that get it wrong. Let's hope we avoid any safety cars today. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position, and it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Norris, Perez, Sainz, Fernando Alonso, Russell, Hamilton, Oscar Piastri, Stroll, Gasly, Ocon, the rookie, Joe, Sargent, Bottas, Ricciardo, Albon, Hülkenberg, Tsunoda, Magnussen and Frederick Vesti. With preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track. And alongside me today is a man who needs no introduction, but I'll try anyway. It's Ant Davidson. Now, we had great fun watching them win last time out. What a great victory it was. But can they carry that into today's race?
It's the important one, isn't it, Crofty? You've done it once, can you do it again? But, you know, if you start believing in yourself and the confidence starts to build, that inner confidence is what you need. And you can carry that through to future races, including this one, and you set that ball rolling. That's the critical thing that they're looking for here. And I believe if you've got that first race win or a win at any stage, it can start to roll with you in a good way.
So, as you would have seen there, we've been bumped up to P13 for the race because Sargent got a penalty. He managed to get himself to Q3 and is going to start 15th on the grid, which just sounds like typical Logan Sargent. And unfortunately, you would have seen as well, our teammate Vesti starting at the back of the grid. But this is the strategy I'm going with. I've got two strategies which are fairly similar on pace, but I decided to go for the one stop. But that 2 stops there, just in case of the safety car, we can switch that strategy and probably gain a bit of time and hopefully some places maybe. But now we are on the grid waiting for the lights to go out for the start of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. And it's lights out and away we go. And we get a better start than Ocon. We pull away from him. But Gasly and Stroll and the cars ahead do pull away a little bit. But I brake really early into turn 1 because I'm so scared of the contact. I wanted to avoid all of it. And I do manage to do that. And coming out of there, Ocon does manage to get better traction than me. But then I almost go right into the back of him, but I just managed to avoid it. And then I get 2 massive snaps of oversteer there. No traction coming out of there. But that moment with Ocon was so close to contact, and I just managed to avoid him. And then we move on to lap 3 here. Not much really happened. It was actually moving on to lap 4. And Ocon's going to try and overtake me into turn 1. I take the inside, try and defend. He takes the outside. I go quite wide there. And I'm going to try and out-drag him up to turn 4 to try and stay ahead. But he's still alongside me. So I go down the inside and I stay ahead of him. And then onto the end of lap 4. Zhou and Ocon are both coming at me now. Zhou's going to try and go around the outside. But he can't quite get round. And then I'm going to try and get the best exit I can out of this corner. But I said it's one that I struggle with. So I'd expect the AI sometimes to get better exits and be quicker than me through there. And Zhou is going to try and move into turn 1. He's going to go around the outside. I'm going to take the inside again. And I'm going to try and defend it. And I think I've just about done enough. And I have. And I pull away from Zhou. And then we move on to lap 6, and we're coming up to the final turn again. Zhou is right behind me. He's looking for a place to go, and he goes around the outside, and he does make the move on me. And now Ocon might be looking around the outside, but he doesn't make the move, and Zhou manages to get ahead of me there. And then we move on to lap 8, and we're going towards turn 1, and I'm going to make a move on Zhou here, and there's a little bit of contact between us there. And a little bit again, I think they're going through the corner, and the move on Joe wasn't successful. He manages to stay ahead, but we're going to come back at him at the end of turn 8, at the end of lap 8 even, into the final corner. And I do manage to get past, but I do go quite deep. So he's going to try and attack again, but he can't get past. But he is going to have a run on me down the straight. Is he going to make a move? He goes around the outside of me, and he goes into turn 1, and he does take the place. And then we come on to lap 9 here. Ocon's going to try and make a move around the outside of me into the final corner, but he can't make it. But I do get very close to Joe there, and I get a snap of oversteer on the exit. So that means that they might be able to come back at me. But I do have DRS on Joe, and I've got my battery on, and I'm going into turn 1, and I've got a run on Joe. I'm going to go down the inside, and I do make the place, and there's contact between us again there. And that's the second time already in this race there's been contact between me and Joe. But we come on to lap 11 here, and Joe and Bottas are right behind me now. They're both going to try and make a move on me into the final corner. I take the inside, but again, I've gone deep. But I do manage to defend from both of them there. And now onto lap 12. Joe and Bottas both going around me again. It was Bottas right behind me that time. He manages to get past me. I'm going to try and make the move back down the inside, though. Can't quite make it, but I stay ahead of Joe, though, so they both don't overtake me at the same time. But Joe is coming at me. He's gaining on me, but I'm gaining on Bottas. So what's going to happen into turn 1? I'm going to go around the outside, try and make a move on Bottas. I brake late, and I brake too late, going too deep, but I do just about manage to make the move and stay ahead of them both. And then coming on to the end of lap 13, Bottas is going for another move around the outside of me. He gets it done way before the final corner, but I go in a little late into the corner, and Joe is now poking his nose up the inside. So he might try and move on me, but you see that red arrow fading away. He is fading further back, and I'm going to have a run at Bottas here. I'm going to go to the inside this time. He tried to defend the inside, but I dupe him, and I go to the inside as well. And I go really deep again, really, really deep, but I do manage to make the move on him. And then again, final corner, lap 14, Bottas and Joe going around the outside of me. And that is a pattern is developing in this race so far. The final corner, they're going around me, and then in turn 1, I'm getting them, but both of them ahead of me this time. So I don't know if that's going to happen here, because one of them might try and move on each other, and they have gone 2 wide, and I do think about making it 3 wide, but I do want to save a little bit of fuel, so I do lift and coast. And at this point in the race, I was doing a bit of lift and coasting to save a bit of fuel, so I didn't want to risk making a move there. And then we come into lap 15, and Ocon is trying to make a move around the outside of me now. Joe and Bottas still fighting ahead of me. I do go deep into that turn yet again, but I wasn't going to be able to attack Joe and Bottas there. And now we move on to lap 19, and Ocon again sticking his nose up the inside of me, and I get a big snap of oversteer. I think I touched the wall as well. No damage done though, and I'm trying to drag Ocon to the line to turn 1, and I do manage to stay ahead of him. But now lap 20, and I do go deep into this corner again. I keep doing that, and now Albon has gone past me, and I'm just getting overtaken left, right and centre, and I just can't make the places up. And I do get another step of oversteer there, and I feel like I'm really struggling at this point in the race. Lap 21, my tyres are quite old, and I am starting to really struggle here. I think you can see Sargent's right behind me. Ocon's trying to make a move down the inside. I go a little deep into this corner, take the inside line, try and stay ahead of Ocon, but Ocon does manage to get ahead of me there. But I've got slipstream on him, and I'm going to try and make a move into turn 4, and that is quite an aggressive move, I've got to say. But I do stay ahead of Ocon there. And now, lap 23 is our pit lap, but we're still fighting. We can't worry about that at the minute. We're fighting Ocon into turn 1. He has got the inside line. I've taken the outside, but I stay ahead of him there. And now we come on to lap 24, and we are pitting. And we're pitting onto hards, as you would have seen from the strategy. One stop, and I'm going to take these tyres to the end now. And I come out right behind Ocon, even though I had just overtaken him. So that is a little bit annoying. And now, lap 24, end of that lap we just pitted on. And I'm going to try and make a move on Ocon here. A little bit wide, but that's okay because he was on the inside, so that's fine. Now I'm going to have DRS, going to try and out-drag him to turn 1. And I've already got past him way before turn 1. And he might make a dive on me. He doesn't. But I go so deep into that corner. And as you would have seen there, Joe and Bottas both come out ahead of me. So I want to try and catch them as well. And you can see this sector here, Joe and Bottas and Albon quite far, not really far ahead of me, but they're outside of a second. But I get my battery on, and you would have seen the entry to that straight was pretty good. and I got a purple sector there. So you would have seen I've gained so much, and you can see how good that sector was because it was purple. And Albon, Bottas and Zhou going 3 wide into turn 1 here on lap 28, and I'm thinking here maybe I can get a switch back on some of them, but not been able to there. But you can see I'm so close to them, and I'm going to go round Bottas here on the inside, and that is a move made, and that is a place gained at the end of lap 28. And now we move on to lap 30 here. Zhou and Albon still fighting, and I want to join this fight. I want to get past them, so I'm going to get my battery on, get my DRS on, and try and chase them to turn 1. And I'm gaining on them. They're side by side. Zhou's got the DRS, but it looks like Albon had more speed there, but neither of them making a move. And I want to try another switch back here, and I maybe got my front wing alongside Zhou there, but not enough to make a move on him. But lap 31, I'm a lot closer this time. So close I almost hit Zhou, but now I'm a lot closer. I'm thinking I can probably make a move this time, and I'm going to get a better effect of the slipstream. Zhou's got the DRS, and I've gone past Albon, and I've gone past Zhou, and I'm making a double overtake into turn 1. I just need to make it stick, go a little bit deep, but then I come out of the exit, and I'm ahead of them both now. Now on to lap 32. Albon's going to try and come back at me. I am in P11 there, but I dropped down to P12 because Albon overtakes me into the final corner. But I want to stay close to him here. I want to get the DRS and the battery on down the main straight, and I want to get an overtake done again into turn 1. I want to reclaim my P11 here, because P11, you stay in that place. If anything happens ahead, if someone retires, you can then sneak a point, and that's what I'm trying to hope to do here. And I've tried to overtake Albon into turn 1 and turn 2, but it's not quite happened, and he does stay ahead of me. And now on lap 33, Zhou's coming at me into the final corner, but I just managed to stay ahead of him. And now I've got plenty of battery I saved, and I want to attack that. I want to attack Albon with that battery and get back ahead of him into turn 1. And he's going to go to the inside. I'm going to go to the outside, and I do make an attempt at the overtake. I take the outside there, and he is behind me now, so I overtake him. But onto lap 34, he gets past me again into the final corner. And moving on to lap 36 now, we've got to run down to turn 1, and I'm trying to overtake Albon yet again. And I go really deep again into that corner. I keep braking too late for the corners, it seems like. I keep going too deep. And Albon is alongside me there. He's trying to get back ahead. We're fighting up to turn 4, but I brake a little bit later, and I get the place, so I'm back ahead of him. But he's right behind me again on lap 36, and he's trying to challenge me again into the final corner. And Zhou and Bottas are right behind me as well. There's 4 of us going all into one corner, trying to fight for one position here. And I think that's Ocon behind him as well. So we're all fighting over one position. We're all so close together on the track. But I'm going to make a move on Albon into turn 1. I brake better this time. Don't go too deep. And I just squeeze Albon out a little bit there, and I managed to get ahead of him. But he is going to try and make a move again on lap 38, and he gets past me into turn 1. Can't even fight that. But on the final corner again here, I'm going to make a move. But Zhou going around the outside, and I've gone so deep there. And it allows Bottas to maybe try and attack me, but I managed to pull ahead of him. But I've gone way too deep there, but I am behind them both now. So can I make another double overtake into turn 1? I go for it, and there's a bit of contact there. It was between me and Albon. I think there might have been some between Zhou and Albon as well. And I've got to say that contact is a bit my fault. I kind of stuck my nose in there, but no damage for anyone, I don't think. And I managed to get ahead of Zhou there into turn 4. And we come to the final corner again here. We're all still fighting. Lap 39, this fight isn't stopping. We're all fighting each other constantly, swapping positions. And I'm going to try and get Albon down into turn 1 here. And I do get past him, and I'm clear even before turn 1. But he gets past me again on lap 41. So still swapping positions. And that is a pattern developing late in the race here. Still, all of us swapping positions so often. It's so crazy. You have no idea who's going to finish where. I think more contact between me and Zhou there. But I did put him quite tight into the wall. But now, 3 of us going 3 wide on the straight. Bottas right behind. Someone right behind there as well, Ocon. And I'm going to go into the lead into turn 1. In the lead out of this pack. And I do come out in the lead. So I'm still in 11th place. But as I said, position is swapping all the time. Albon getting back ahead of me there. But then I'm going to try and get back ahead of Albon here. And it's lap 43. We've still got 7 laps of this race to go. Anything could happen. Any of us could finish in 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th. These positions just constantly changing. And now into turn 1 again. I'm going to get past Albon before we even reach there. And now again, lap 45, Albon getting past me into turn 1. But the end of lap 45, I'm going to try and attack him into the final corner. And Bottas then trying to go around the outside of me. I think we had contact. And there's just so many times we're going 3 wide, all of us trying to cram our cars into one place, trying to all go past each other at once. Me and Albon trying to drag it to turn 1, and I just get ahead of him. I stay ahead of him. But then, 46, final corner again, Albon gets past me. Zhou is trying to dive around the outside again, but he can't make the move. But Albon stays ahead of me there. Then lap 47, final corner, again, 3 of us going 3 wide into the final corner. But I think I've come out on top here, but I don't have the DRS on the main straight. But I think I can pull away enough, or can I? Because Albon's going to come at me, and I couldn't pull away enough, and Albon is again ahead of me. But on to lap 48 now. I'm going to try and make a move on Albon, and I get ahead, and it's lap 49 now. So I think if I can just defend for this lap and the next lap, I can stay ahead of him, because it's a game now. Who's ahead of who at the final corner? And I'm ahead of all of them. As you can see, Charles Leclerc has won the race, but that doesn't matter to me. What matters is getting a good exit out of that corner and getting down to the line to stay ahead of them both. And I do manage to do that. Albon got close at the end, but he wasn't able to overtake me. So in the end, I finished P11, which is quite good. I think that's quite a good race from me. So much battle in there. And Albon, the main man I was battling with, gets driver of the day. So I'm happy with that race. And you see on the podium here, Leclerc getting his first win of the season, claiming the top step. And then second was Perez, actually. I thought it was Verstappen. I assumed it was Verstappen, but it's actually Perez. And Norris getting his first podium, and McLaren's first podium of the season as well. And then you can see this is the final finishing order. Yeah, Verstappen actually finishing in 4th, so it wasn't him. It was Perez who got the podium. But me finishing 11th, so not too bad. But I am so far behind that 10th. There was no chance of me getting anywhere near getting it. And unfortunately, you see Frederick Vesti finishing 22nd, the only man who finished a lap down. But me finishing 11th, I think that's a pretty decent race from us. Started 13th, finished 11th. But I think Albon did deserve driver of the day. Started 18th, finished 12th. So I think he deserved it. So I just want to show you the standings before we finish the video. And as you can see, I'm in 11th place in the driver standings because I've had an 11th place finish, higher than the others. And we're in 7th in the constructors. So I'm pretty happy with that. But anyway, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like. If you want to carry on watching this series, subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one.